Hey guys, Sim Reviewer here. I'm going to start on chapter 2 of the Twilight series. So here we go. Next day was better and worse. It was better because it wasn't raining yet, though the clouds were dense and opaque. It was easier because I knew exactly what to expect of my day. Mike came and sat by me in English and walked me to my next class with with chess club. Eric glared all the while. That was flattering. People didn't look at me quite as much as they did yesterday. I sat with a big group at lunch, including Mike, Eric, and Jessica, several other people whose names and faces I now remembered. It began to feel like I was treading water instead of drowning in it, and worse, because I was trying and still couldn't sleep with the wind echoing around my house, and it was worse because Mr. Varant called on me in trig when my hand wasn't raised and I had the wrong answer. It was miserable because I had to play volleyball. And the one time I didn't cringe out when the ball out of the way of the ball, I hit my teammate in the head with it. And worse because Edward Cullen wasn't at school at all. One morning I dread lunch, fearing his bizarre glances. Part of me wanted to confront him and demand to know what his problem was, while I was lying sleepless in my bed imagining what I would say, but I knew myself too well to think I would really have the guts to do it. I made the Kelly line look like the Terminator. But when I walked into the cafeteria with Jessica, I was trying to keep my eyes from sweeping the place for him and failed entirely. I saw his four siblings of sorts sitting together at the same table, and he was not with them. Mike intercepted us and steered us towards his table. Jessica seemed elated by the attention, and her friends quickly joined us. I tried to listen to their easy chatter. I was terribly uncomfortable, waiting nervously for the moment he would arrive. I hoped he would simply ignore me and then came and prove my suspicions false. He didn't come. As time passed, I grew more and more tense. I walked to biology with more confidence when I walked them by the end of lunch. He still hadn't showed. Mike, who was talking on the qualities, was taking on the quality of the golden retriever, walked fatefully by my side to class. I held my breath at the door, but Edward Cullen wasn't there either. I exhaled when I went to my seat. Mike followed, taking up talking about upcoming trips to the beach. He lingered at my desk till the bell rang, smiled at me, and wistfully went to sit by a girl with braces and a bad perm. It looked like I was going to have to do something about Mike. It wouldn't be easy in a town like this, where everyone lived on top of everyone else. Diplomatically was essential, and I'd never been morosely tactful. Had no practice over dealing with over friendly boys. I was relieved to have the desk to myself. That Edward Cullen was absent, I told myself repeatedly. Sorry. But I couldn't get rid of the nagging suspicion that I was the reason he wasn't there. It was ridiculous. Egotistical egotistical to think that I had the effect on anyone that strongly. It was impossible, and yet I couldn't stop worrying that it was true. School day was finally done. The blush faded out of my cheeks from the volleyball incident. I changed quickly into my jeans and navy blue sweater and hurried from the girls' locker room, pleased to find that I have successfully invaded my retriever friend for the moment. I walked swiftly to the parking lot. It was crowded now with fleeting students. I got in my truck and dug through my bag to make sure I had what I needed. Last night I discovered Charlie couldn't cook anything besides fried eggs and bacon, so I requested that I be assigned kitchen detail for the duration of my stay. He was willing enough to hand over the keys to the banquet hall. I also found out that he had no food in the house, so I had my shopping list and cash from the jar in the cupboard labeled food money. I was on my way to Thriftway. I gunned in my deftly engine to life, ignoring the heads that turned my direction. Carefully backed into the place in the line of cars waiting to exit the parking lot, and I tried to pretend that I didn't. That the ears from the cars coming my way from someone else's car set the two Collins, the Hale twins, Getting in that car, it was a shiny new Volvo, of course. I hadn't noticed their clothes before, I'd been too mesmerized by their faces, but now it seemed obvious they were all well dressed, except some well simple clothes, but hints of design origins, designer origins. With their remarkable good looks, the style with which they carried themselves, they could have worn dish rags and pulled it off. It seemed excessive for them to have both good looks and money, but as far as I could tell, life worked that way for most of the time. It didn't look like it brought them any acceptance here. No, I didn't fully believe that. The isolation must be their desire. I couldn't imagine any door that wouldn't be opened by their degree of beauty. They looked at my nosy truck as I passed them, just like everyone else. I kept my eyes straight forward, relieved finally I was free of the school grounds. The Thriftway was not far from the school, just a few streets south off the highway. It was nice to be inside a supermarket. It felt normal. I did all the shopping at home. I fell into a pattern of familiar tasks gladly. The store was big enough inside that you couldn't hear the tapping of the rain on the roof to remind me where I was. When I got home, I unloaded the groceries, stuffed them in wherever I could find an open space. I hoped Charlie wouldn't mind. I wrapped potatoes in foil, stuck them in the oven to bake, covered steak in marinade, balanced it on top of a carton of eggs in the fridge. When I finished with that, I took my book bag upstairs. Before starting my homework, I changed into a pair of dry sweats, pulled my damp hair into a ponytail, checked my emails. I had 3. Bella, Mom wrote. Write me as soon as you get in. Tell me about your flight. Is it raining? I miss you already. I'm almost finished packing for Florida, but I can't find my pink blouse. Do you know where it is? Phil says hi, Mom. I sighed and went to the next one. It was sent 8 hours after the first. Why haven't you emailed me? What are you waiting for, Mom? The last was from this morning. Isabella, if I haven't heard from you by 5:30 p.m. today, I'm going to call Charlie. I checked the clock. I still had an hour, but my mom was well known for jumping the gun. Mom, calm down. I'm writing you now. Don't worry, Bella. I sent that and began again. Mom, everything is great. Of course it's raining. School. I was waiting on something to write about. School isn't that bad. It's just a little rep- rep- repetitive. I met some kids who sit with me at lunch. Your blouse is at the dry cleaners. You were supposed to pick it up Friday. Charlie bought me a truck. Can you believe it? I love it. It's old, but really sturdy, which is good. For me. I miss you too. I'll write again soon, but I'm not going to check my email every 5 minutes. Relax. Breathe. Love you, Bella. I decided to read Wuthering Heights, the novel we're currently studying English, yet again, for the fun of it. That's what I was doing when Charlie came home. I lost track of time. I hurried downstairs to take potatoes out, put the steak in the broil. Bella, my father called out upon hearing me on the stairs. Who else? I thought to myself. Hey, Dad, welcome home. Thanks. He hung his gun up, belt up, stepped out of his boots, bustled to the kitchen. As far as I was aware, he never shot the gun on the job, but he kept it ready. When I came here as a child, he would remove the bullets, and then when he walked in the door, I guess he considered me old enough not to shoot myself by accident or not depressed enough to shoot myself on purpose. What's for dinner? He asked rarely. My mother was an imaginative cook, and her experiments weren't always edible. I was surprised and sad he remembered that far back. Steak and potatoes, I answered. He looked relieved. He seemed to feel awkward standing at the kitchen with nothing to do. He lumbered into the living room to watch TV while I worked. We were both more comfortable that way. I made a salad while the steaks cooked and set the table. I called him for dinner, and when it was ready, he sniffed appreciatively and walked into the room. Smells good, Bells. Thanks. We ate in silence for a few minutes. It wasn't uncomfortable. Neither of us were bothered by the quiet. In some ways, we were well suited for living together. So how did you like school? Have you made any friends yet? He asked as he was taking seconds. Well, I have a few classes with a girl named Jessica. I sit with her friends at lunch. Excuse me. Mike is very friendly. Everyone seems pretty nice. Outstanding exception. That must be Mike Newton. Nice kid, nice family. His dad owns a sporting goods store just outside of town. He makes a good living off the backpackers who come through here. Do you know the Cullen family? I asked hesitantly. Dr. Cullen's family? Sure, Dr. Cullen's a great man. The kids are a little different. They don't seem to fit in well at school. Charlie surprised me by looking angry. People in this town, he muttered. Dr. Cullen is a brilliant surgeon who could probably work in any hospital around the world and make 10 times the salary he gets here. He continued, getting louder. We're lucky to have him. Lucky his wife wanted to live in a small town. He's an asset to the community, and all those kids are well behaved and polite. I have my doubts, but when they first moved here in with all the adopted teenagers, I thought they might have some problems with them, but they are very mature. I haven't had a speck of trouble out of any of them, more than I can say for the children of some of the folks that have been in the town for generations. They stick together the way a family should, camping trips every other weekend. Just because they're newcomers, people have to talk. It's the longest speech I've ever heard from Charlie make. He must feel strongly about whatever people are saying. I backpedaled. They seem nice enough to me. I just noticed they kept to themselves. They're all very attractive, I added, trying to be more complimentary. You should see the doctor, Charlie said, laughing. It's a good thing he's happily married. A lot of nurses at the hospital are having a hard time concentrating on their work with him around. We lapsed back into silence as we finished eating. He went back. I cleared the table while I stirred the dishes. He went back to the TV. After I finished washing the dishes by hand, no dishwasher, I went upstairs unwillingly to work on my math homework. I could feel a tradition in the making. That night it was finally quiet. I slept quickly and exhausted. The rest of the week was uneventful. I got used to the routine of my classes. By Friday I was able to recognize, if not name, almost half of the students in gym. The kids on my team learned not to pass the ball to me and step quickly in front of me if the other team tried to take advantage of my weakness. I happily stayed out of their way. Edward Cullen did not come back to school. Every day I watched anxiously until the rest of the Cullens entered the cafeteria without him. And then I could relax. And I'm going to stop here so it doesn't cut me off, and I will pick right back up with that. Talk to y'all later. 7 movie route.